Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me.
Down the inside.
Absolutely possible season.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We'll go bust. We got our elbows out.
Ronar takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Yarda Watmere is your champion.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome back once again on a Monday night for your classic Monday evening madness, served up here at Premier Sim Gaming Leagues for PlayStation Tier 1. This is round number 5 of Season 42, and last week we had an absolute banger because the Dutch Grand Prix, we didn't think was going to be that exciting. We had an incredible 2-stop race. We had some superb battles going on throughout, and fingers crossed as we head from the sand dunes of Zandvoort to the hallowed bitumen of Brazil in Interlagos, that we can have more of the same. Because if you remember the last time we raced here at the end of season 41, it rained within the last couple of laps and it got fairly exciting, didn't it, Logan?
Yes, it did. It went down at the final lap. Unfortunately, there was no move at the end to win the race. I think it was because they were all on dry tyres and it was just absolute chaos. But we're here again in the middle of the season this time. The middle of this very short 10-race season.
Yes, halfway through now.
We are in Interlagos, a track that actually used to be double the length, just like Spa-Francorchamps. Look it up, it's there. It's going to be playing host to this. Although I've actually looked at the new Goiânia circuit. It's not too bad, but that's for motorcycles and it's not grade 1 standard. This is, though, and it's stuck in the middle of a Sao Paulo suburb, and boy, it just screams Brazil.
It does.
Or as I should say,
That.
sorry. Yeah,
That,
that. It
everybody.
screams Brazil. I'm getting ready for the World Cup, folks. Sorry.
We are. But yeah, I mean, you're
On
mentioning
continent.
other places in Brazil. I've got a picture of Interlagos there. So if you dare take it off the calendar, FIA, you'll be feeling my wrath. But last week in Zandvoort, it wasn't just a banger race. It completely changed the entire complexion of this championship battle. If we head over to the drivers' standings, you can see that we have seen a significant change as that has not updated. That's rather annoying.
What?
Chuck that in there instead. That's also the file doesn't exist. It's completely disappeared from my entire computer.
Oh no.
But what happened was Snacks, with a superb performance, managed to work his way through and eventually take home the victory. And that extended his championship lead from 4 points to 23, if my maths is correct. And that is pretty damn sizable.
Now, we have some... sorry to get here, T-Dub. We do have some housekeeping to go over. Stewards. Lawrence was given a qualifying ban for qualifying interference. He will take no part in this session.
No, he won't.
With an incident involving Jordan, which actually... So, you're right. Jordan did not deserve that penalty.
Thank you for confirming that for me. So, Lawrence with a quali ban, usually quite quick over one lap, but will be starting from the back of the pack, providing that, of course, everybody manages to get their times in. There was a warning for Zane. Zane was very laggy last week and actually ended up in a collision between themselves and Phil. And Phil has been given a 2-race ban, plus 5 license points, and was disqualified from last week after intentionally causing a collision. Stays here, blatantly brake checking Zane. That's not ideal. I'm going to cross my fingers here because hopefully these are the correct standings, and they are. That is delightful. Snacks there, bookending it. Winner in round 1, winner of the most recent race in round 5, and that has extended his lead to 21 points after Dirk failed to see the checkered flag and had an absolute stinker, it has to be said. Polymaki with a brilliant drive to second place, Silo with third. They've got a long, long way to make up in the second half of this season. Max Vonnegut still tucked in there in third place for Red Bull Racing, just 3 points ahead of his teammate. And Lawrence will be starting at the back, but has made it 4 points finishes out of 5 with a very commendable 5th place in Zandvoort 7 days ago. A lot of DNFs in there. I think we only had 11 cars reach the flag. 12 of you include Phil, who picked up that disqualification and is banned for this week in Brazil and Singapore next week as well. But speaking of Brazil, Logan, we have to do this every single time because this circuit is an absolute masterpiece in circuit design. The litany of legendary corners, the center S is Decided Alago, the middle sector technical and challenging, the final sector as well, that long run out of the clumsy turn 12 of Jungshao into the center S's. You've got to be at 99% minimum to get your way around this circuit and be competitive.
Yes, you do. It is a fantastic track, very flowy. It's a bit narrow though, so overtaking opportunities are probably limited. However, a lot of people take a shot at some of the Sector 2 corners. Interlagos, of course, was known for that. Is that clock moment as well, which is going to turn 18. It'll be able to buy a drink in Britain soon. But yes, is it the Laranjinha corner or is it the Essa corner?
Ferradura up to Laranjinha, yes, and then into the middle sector of turn 8. Then you've got Pinarino, Bica de Pato as well, really tight, really tricky traction zone, and then down the hill of Magulio through 11. That's tricky as well, especially when the rear tyres are just starting to give up. And we have to speak about tyre wear as well, because right at the start of F125, this was a guaranteed 2-stop race. As the setups that have developed and the driving styles have changed, it has moved more onto the side of the 1-stop. But I would not be surprised if we do see in a dry race that little bit of a split between the 1 and the 2-stop strategy. We've seen it on the last couple of times we've been to Brazil. We've had half the grid going for a 1-stop pretty much and half going for a 2-stop.
Yes, we have indeed. So we'll see what happens tonight. We've got 12 in the session. We've only got 16. This is Brazil. It's a supreme track.
Disappointing. Very disappointing indeed. Who doesn't want to drive around Brazil? Who doesn't want to try and lap this circuit as many times as you possibly can? And speaking of lapping circuits, I hope you're ready for this one. If you want to try and lap the Interlagos circuit a bit faster, you know exactly where you should be heading, everybody, because we're going to head over to this screen. Sim racing setups. Unlock extra performance with the Pro F1 25 car setups created and developed by the drives you see competing week in, week out at Premier Sim Gaming Leagues. Whether it's hundredths, thousandths, tenths, or even seconds that you're looking to try and find, they have got you covered with esports and stable setups for every single circuit. 27 on this year's game. Qualifying and race setups, dry and wet weather, optimal race strategies, and free meta setup updates thrown in there as well. Absolutely everything you could ever ask for. All available for £49.99 if you do the maths. Divide that by 27 circuits, that equals pretty darn good value. Available at simracingsetup.com, which is linked in the description of this stream. And you can use a lovely code of 5%, that's not the code, a lovely code called PSGL to get a 5% discount at checkout. And why would you not want to get involved in that one? Because this circuit, if you can extract the maximum out of it, one of the best to drive.
I have no money. I'm only kidding. I have a life. I don't have enough time.
That's suggesting something.
I work late nights.
What are you trying to say about our league races?
My job is to commentate. Hello.
Okay, fair enough.
Anyway, yes. I'll get some time eventually. We got 17 in this session. Nice. I think we got a last minute joiner, or is it Simone Mara is going to drive? Actually, he might not be in the server.
Oh, Simone Mara was in the server. There have been some very
Someone
late,
changed their mind.
some late replacements and substitutions coming in for some drivers that weren't actually supposed to be in this season, but they are jumping back in. If you're interested in the constructors battle as well, just while we wait for all the drivers to filter in, it's Williams leading the way. Championship leader Snacks, he is controlling that Williams constructors championship push very, very well, supported by Jaden. They are 20 points clear at the summit, ahead of Red Bull Racing with Mats von der Geest and Silo, and then Polymaki with Mercedes, with Polymaki and Melwin Efferman rounding out your top three. The basement dwellers are Haas once again, sat down with just 7 points and haven't scored in each of the last 3 races. And the reigning constructors champions Ferrari, only 8th at the moment as well, with 18 points. 16 of them scored, 17 points in fact, scored in one race after Gavroche was the victor a few weeks ago in Austria.
So we're just about to get ready. Everyone's starting to ready up. We've got the signal from Lawrence himself in the server. Just waiting for everyone to get prepared and get ready for the 6th of the 10 rounds, the first part of the second half here of this season. I'm trying to find who's the odd one out who actually has joined. Because I've got 17 here. It says there's 16 available.
I'll try and do some searching as well then, as we go through.
Lars Kramer. Lars Kramer is in when he said he wasn't in. But hey, it's better to be in than not, than saying that you are going to be in, but you're not. So, well, thank you, Lars, for finding some time. Hopefully he has a good night. Hopefully all of them have a good night, but that is unfortunately not guaranteed. Only 10 get points, and for some drivers, 10th place is not acceptable. For some others, obviously, it can be. Cadillac. Wait, where is Cadillac? They need to have 22 drivers in the next season, I hope, but I fear that may not be the case. But here's hoping they increase the size of the server to 24 for future updates.
Well, they should do. They should do. That's how we're going to say that, because we've got the 22 cars we can use, plus your 2 spectators. That should equal 24. I don't know what that means for the online cars. As Logan's disappeared from my screen, we can see the dartboard in the background, and we can also see the pictures on the wall. But we are loading into the session. We've got people praying for rain as well. I'm going to be interested to see if it does rain, because it's Brazil. Obviously, there's going to be some weather in the skies as we wait for the drivers to load in. We will get the first reveal, the first port of call to see what the weather is doing. If you are new here at PSGL, short qualifying session, 18 minutes on the clock before we go straight in to a 50% race. That is 36 laps around this Interlagos circuit. And we have got Snacks, championship leader, with a 21-point buffer. Let's not forget, heading into the second half of season 41. Winner in round 1, winner last time out in round 5. Zayn has taken an awful long time there to loading. He's actually timed out as well, so that maybe suggests that there's going to be a few lag issues again with that Aston Martin. But it is dry, at least for the moment, to start the session. I can hear the groan from Logan because I imagine you're disappointed with that one.
But we like chaos here. Gives us more to work with.
Who doesn't? Who
I'll
doesn't
be
like
transparent
chaos?
here.
Especially Brazil. We
The
love a
cur-
bit of Brazilian chaos.
The current regs, batteries not included here.
Well, technically they
Actually,
are.
there
We've
is,
got the
yes.
hybrid system and we've got the battery usage anyway. Lawrence is retired. That is because they have a
That's true.
qualifying ban, so it will be 17th for Lawrence unless Snacks, Ben, Silo Zane or Max Bricker also end up not setting a lap time. And Lawrence will be 12th courtesy of, I think, well, I don't even know. Alphabetical? No idea what's going to set them apart there. But we have a Ferrari leaving the garage first. Is that going to be Gavroche? No, it is not. It is Nicholas leading the charge out of the very unique pit lane here. Spat out halfway down the Retroposta past the Senna S's. And it is quite a long pit lane as well. You do lose quite a decent chunk of time, which is why drivers will maybe try and steer away from that two-stop strategy, similar to what we see in Silverstone, for example, where that's an extreme case, and Imola's another one where the pit lane is very, very slow.
Yeah, it can be indeed. So we're just seeing all the cars leave for their first lap. Just find my volume control because I just realised I've got my TV off. Mute.
Ooh.
There we go. That's better.
We've got the sounds of V6 turbo hybrids now blasting through the speakers. You'd like to think so. Nicholas coming up to Zheng Xiao now, and it'll be pedal to the metal out of turn 12. Don't take it off for another 20 seconds almost as we blast up the hill through 13, 14 and 15, which are absolutely flat as you like, as you would expect. We're going to kickstart this qualifying session with a lap in the Scarlet Ferrari car on board with Nicholas, powering back down the hill now into the Senna S, but we lift off into turn 1, and that probably tells me this is going to be a warm-up lap. So anticlimactic if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, he's not even going full throttle through the. He's not even going full throttle through the Senna S. Or the big curve, which I need to get the name of. Curve de Sol. There we go.
Curve de Sol of turn 3. Silo is punching in purple sector times, though, obviously. First to set a competitive first sector, 17 flat, but you can see the Red Bull there not reacting very well over the curbs on the exit of Desida de Lago. Couple of snaps, little bit wobbly for the White Bull, now barreling back up the hill through turn 6 and turn 7, and then turn 8, locking up that front right ever so slightly, desperately trying to get the front end to bite and rotate. This is where the traction zones are particularly difficult. Out of turn 9 and then into turn 10, Bika de Pato. Got to be punchy with the loud pedal, but not too much because you're going to end up pointing in the wrong direction, using a lot of curb back down through Magulio and into the clumsy turn 12 of Zheng Xiao. Got to be so precise here with your throttle inputs and your steering inputs. Looks very neat and tidy for Silo, who's already won once so far this season. Finished third 7 days ago as well in Zandvoort. Up to the line we go. The benchmark time is a 106.5 for the Red Bull.
See if that will go down soon. Nicholas is obviously well off the pace, so that will not count. But Melvin goes just under 4 tenths behind. He 106.894. Now the only Haas in the session here, 106.77 from Max Bricker. Of course, the other Haas, don't worry, is not over there after that crash. It is just one Haas tonight, because if you watched it yesterday, oh man. Very concerning incident, but this isn't the real world, so if there's a big crash here, it will most likely be the fact that it will just be retired from the session. Snatsk is the closest challenger, a third of a tenth behind Silo at SCI 1-2 again. Of course, Snatsk, the championship leader by 21 points. And he's going to try and make it 22 before the race even begins, because you get 1 point for pole position. Acts as a bit of insurance just in case the race goes awry.
It does. A couple of invalidations for a few drivers. Mats van der Geest, one of them. Dirk, Gavroche, Ray Wint, and of course Nicholas. Lars Kramer as well, not getting a time on the board at the first time of asking. Nicholas to the line, just inside the 107 barrier. Goes up into position number 7, with Silo still leading the way from Snacks. A couple of tenths clear of Max Bricker, and then the two Mercedes. Here's Ray Wint coming up towards the start-finish line now. Where does that pink RB go? 107 flat. Going to need to find at least a quarter of a second to be competitive in this session, you would imagine. imagine. Lars Kramer next across the line. It's only a 107.2, slowest of the competitive times we've seen so far. Dirk is invalidated again. Gavroche with a competitive middle sector, though, a 10th up on what Silo has managed to achieve, and with a distant toe perhaps from Mercedes entering the pits as well. Can the Scarlet Ferrari move up to the front? No, only a 106.8 to go P5 as Zane slots in just behind.
So 14 of the 16 drivers in the session, barring Lawrence of course, have set a time. Well, actually 13, because Dirk has still not set a competitive lap. Make that actually Van de Geest invalidated in the White Bull, which did not make an appearance. Instead, the V-Carb decided to take that honour instead. And I think they're more concerned about their performance in the race right now, because Max Verstappen obviously a bit, let's say, hot-headed about the current state of the sport, but I'm sure early teething problems will try to be sorted over the 5 weeks. But back to the virtual world, everyone heading back to the pits for their break, and Zane on the lap? I don't think so.
No. Zane has just jumped
seconds.
up, into P6. Mats van der Geest has had 3 attempts, by the way, to get a lap in. Failed on every single occasion. Dirt back in the pits as well on a 20.9. Really going to need to try and find some time there. Mats van der Geest under pressure as well. That's second in the championship, currently 15th. Third in the championship, 16th. And 5th in the championship, 17th. And confirmed to be 17th as well. So pressure on some of these big dogs in the lead. But it's the championship leader on the front row, but not right at the sharp end. That is Silo by a third of a tenth. 106.5 the benchmark. He was the first over the line and is still the fastest after the first runs. Because this is a short circuit as well, opportunities to get 3, maybe even 4 runs in. But because we don't have any lobby resets going on, the soft compound tyres that you use in qualifying will carry over to the race. And if we do see a late race safety car, which is becoming even more unlikely as the seasons in PSGL, PSF1 progress, you do want that added bonus of having a set of soft compound tyres in your arsenal to burn up in the closing laps.
Yes, you do. 11 minutes to go in this session. The soft tyres, the Optimum tyres, of course, because you're going to be doing 1 hot lap. And you don't have to worry about a certain battery going around the lap, so you're going to be going at full force around these corners. So we've got Melwin and Escoca Levy on an out lap. Melwin coming towards this long stretch with bends, left hand turns, which are very rapid. You see he's taking the outside to get as much speed as possible. Into the first corner we go, and the second and the third, and he's pretty alright through there. Heading down towards the City of the Lago and the first sector split. And his time is faster by about a 1/6 of a second.
Oh, very wide there,
and then he
though.
goes wide into City of the Lago. Unfortunate for him. He's got a Levy on a lap right now. We've got a bit of traffic, but
Fails as
seems
well.
to have faced him. Has it?
Yeah, definitely
he's
backed
given up
off.
to-
The driver's really struggling here just to try and hook the laps
Yeah.
up, which is an interesting one. It's not necessarily the most technical of circuits, Interlagos, but it can be punishing when you do step over the line.
Yeah, in all honesty, I think it's much easier to make a mistake at other tracks than this one, of course, because this track, it isn't as technical as others, yes, so you've got much less corners to worry about, of course, but to make a mistake here consistently, it's not really... If you're pushing hard, yes, you're going to make the mistake more likely, but I think it's much easier to get a banker lap here than most other tracks without crossing the line. And I'm surprised Van de Geest has tried about 4 times, this is his 4th right here, and has failed to set a time. And Dirk as well, I'm going to count as well, because of course the 120 is way off the pace. If the 107% rule is in place...
Oh, Lars Kramer's dropped it going up the hill, by the way, through Ferragura.
Oh.
I think just touched the curb on the inside. Managed to save it, but that lap thrown in the bin was up by a 1/10.5 through Sector 1. But those rear tyres are going to be screaming for a little bit of mercy, you would say. Nicholas will jump on board with the car now closest behind the Williams, negotiating Pinarino of turn 9. But they have also backed off.
Oh dear. So, Silo's still at the top, and it doesn't seem like you're going to see any improvements in time. I think temperature is going to be taken into account of
Ooh,
the
Ray
track.
Wintz up by a third of a second. Currently on a 7 flat, but they can find some time. Was a little bit wide through Jung Xiao. This could be a big improvement for the Miami liveried Racing Bulls car. Up to line, yes, does get into the top 5. Lost a little bit in that final sector, but still competitive. Bumped out of it, though, because Melwin Efferman, now up into 3rd, improves by just under 2/10. We turn our attention now to the top 2. Silo has invalidated, so won't be improving. Snacks up by half a tenth through sector 1. Takes a lot of curve going down through Magulio. Still finding a little bit of time. 200s in the middle sector. Back end looking planted as you like through Jung Xiao, as Max Bricker now takes over in 4th place on a 6.7. Polymaki just behind on a 6.7 as well. Snacks to the line. Championship leader. Is he the provisional pole sitter? Yes. First driver into the 6.4s. Now puts a tenth of a second between himself and Silo.
So we have a new driver at the top, and it is the championship leader by 21 points. I'm going to keep saying that because it is a gap that needs to be closed for a championship battle to remain in action. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case yet, because Snatsk has got a fantastic lap, has broken the 106.5s. They try to filter through all the other drivers. We already saw Ray Wintz set a lap. Pauline Mackey's went up to 5th. Very close between Ray Wintz and Tigo's got the same time. From 4th to 8th, no, even 9th or 10th is very close. There's 4th to 9th separated by 18 thousandths.
That is incredible when you think about it there. From 3rd down to 10th is just over a tenth of a second. 8 cars separated by just over a tenth. That is crazy stuff. Dirk is still out there. Dirk is still invalidating lap times. Has improved to a 1:16.1, but again has breached the track limits and again won't be finding any more time on this run.
Don't think he will. Dirk has invalidated all the drivers coming in the pits, I'd imagine. Pauline Mackey is coming in, even though he seemed like to set a good lap. Max in, Gavrok will be in. Zane
is pushing down by half a tenth though, so may bail on this one. Distance slipstream perhaps. He's going to complete the lap in the green machine. Will we find the smallest of improvements? Yes. Good final sector. Finds a tenth. Stays 10th though, and is now 1 millisecond behind Gavroche. And the gap from P4 to P10 is now 19 milliseconds rather than the yawning chasm that was the 31 or so that it was a few seconds ago.
It's absolutely... It's slim margins, and it could make all the difference in the race.
White Sheep could join them. Does improve to a 6.8. Slots in between Zane and the McLaren just behind. Look at this club there. 4th, 106.787. 12th, 106.892. Unbelievable.
This is why the fraction of a second is critical in the sport. What could be seconds in other sport translates into fractions of a second in this sport. And this goes for pretty much every motorsport, especially Formula One. It is just incredible to watch.
This is why this can sometimes be the very best in the business going at it in a qualifying session. But we need to talk about it. Elephant in the room, perhaps. There is a big gap between the top 2 and the chasing pack. Snacks has got nearly 3/10 in hand over Melwin Efferman in position number 3, and Silo nearly 2/10 ahead of the chasing pack. The best of the rest battle, if you like, as well. Though they've still got a decent amount of time. They have to try and extract from somewhere. You can tend to overdrive and tense up, especially in the back end of this qualifying session. And for Snacks and Silo, there's a little bit of respite, knowing that there is a decent chunk of time that group behind need to find to just get on the same playing field as them.
Yeah, 4 minutes to go in the session. Dirk at the bottom there, surprisingly, second in the championship. You'd expect he'd be up there, but he's got a time outside of the 107% rule, which doesn't apply. It's just a stat I bring up. As you can see, the lovely garages in the order of the championship, as usually is. McLaren, Ferrari, Red Bull, Mercedes, Aston Martin, Alpine, Haas, V-Carb, Williams, and
Sauber.
Sauber, yeah, I'm trying to see that there. Which is now Audi, but will not be until the next patch is released, the DLC, which I hope will allow 22 drivers in a session and increase include the spectators, so it'll be a full lobby of 24, and maybe even have a 12th team for funds. But we're going to stick with the 11 in the Formula 1 here. I mean, I still want to see personalized cars for multiplayer racing, but without the double stacking at random, but I don't see that happening for a while.
Yeah, it's quite a tricky thing to try and get rid of. But we turn our attentions to the final runs in qualifying. Logan, who are you looking at that is under pressure going into this? Dirk, not least on that 16-1 still, but anybody else you see that's slightly out of position?
Well, I've got, right now, I see Max Bricker up there, only 19 thousandths per second at 10th, ahead of 10th. So if any of the drivers below him in the next 6 positions improve, or even any of them below, well, he's going to have a bit of a problem in the race. He's going to start much lower than he had desired. So keep a watch for him, but it is all about Snats and Silo right now, seemingly untouchable at the top. Escocalevi is starting his lap. Snats is getting his lap out of the way immediately. Well, he's going to have a bit of fun with some of the traffic, you'd imagine. And Escocalevi has backed off. He will have time to set another lap.
Didn't actually even try for it through the center S's, and that gives Snacks all the free real estate at this stage. Finds time through the first sector, does the championship leader, third of a tenth. Now up the hill, throw the car into turn 6 and turn 7, just touching the curb on the inside, hoping it sticks. Cranking the steering lock as well to get the car to bite and rotate through turn 8. Turn 9, solid as a rock as well, maybe slightly wide on the exit, planting the throttle as early as he possibly can. Again, hustles the front of the car through Bico de Pato. Really good traction again, though, from Snacks, tucked over the curve through Magulio. Finding time, of course, we're finding time. Over a tenth of a second now. Back of the car just stepping out ever so slightly on the entrance into Jung Xiao corner. But is this the championship leader lowering the benchmark and throwing the gauntlet down once again? Up to the line, foot buried into the floor. It's another improvement. It's another chunk of time found. 106.3 for Snacks. The championship leader now has to be hunted down.
Polymaki and Tico have invalidated. They will not get this lap in. They could still get another lap in, as well as Zane has also invalidated, and he's now fallen down to 10th because another driver, I think, has jumped the... No, he's not jumped the free, I think. Or is it... Actually, no, it was Van de Gies, wasn't it?
No, well, Silo improves. Silo found time, but is still second fastest, 600ths down. Max Bricker improves, 106.6. Polymaki done. Ray Wint's done. They're going to back off and try and go again, leaving themselves under almighty pressure. Lars Kramer is finished, as is Polymaki, so 5th at best for the second Mercedes. Max von der Gies needs to get his skates on as well. We're going to have a lot of drivers crossing the line very late here, 5 seconds before the checkered flag falls. Gavroche is out there in the Ferrari, up by a couple of hundredths through the first sector. There are some big guys here that need to find time. Lars Kramer and Polymaki, as we said, done. One of the Haas is dropping back. White Sheep with a good lap to go third fastest, 106.6, just ahead by 4 milliseconds of Max Bricker. And we turn our attention again to the Scarlet Ferrari of Gavroche. Snacks is done, championship leader, all that he can do. Will he hold on to provisional pole? Gavroche down through Maguglia, up by over a tenth of a second. Needs to find a little bit more. This battle for third place on the grid going to be so closely congested. Escocalevi is done, 106.8, 12th at best for the Papaya McLaren. But what can the Scarlet Ferrari do to the line? Is it third? Yes, just by 8 milliseconds.
Wow.
So close again. Gavroche takes over in position number 3. Melwood Effman is down by 600ths of a second. Ray Wintz is up and goes up 1 place into 7th. Looking for other improvements. Tico is down. Max von der Giest is up by not too much. I think that is that. Melwood Efferman done as well in the pits. Efferman.
Oh, and Dirk goes up to 6th.
Great late run. Zane back into the top 10. 5 Ben doesn't improve, and that is that for qualifying. Snacks, championship leader, pole sitter, qualifying king once again. Silo ran him close, and 600ths of a second separating them. And that big gap back to third place, occupied by Gavroche.
Second pole in a row for Snatsk, and now increases his gap in the championship to 22. He's on the 60-point barrier now. Dirk has got another mountain to climb. He's got to get through 4 drivers before getting a snap if he wants to try and challenge for that championship. Van de Geest there, down in 12th. Not a good session from him, so he's going to do a lot. Has to do a lot in the session. Silo comfortably in second. Already missed the first 3 races of the season. Has shown his worth in gold, and Lawrence down there obviously not going to be starting any further than the back because of course he had that qualifying ban. Polomaki in the middle of the pack, not ideal. Melvin up there in a decent 7th position, sorry. Max Bricka up in 5th. White Sheep also getting up to the 4th, so great position for Max Bricka, especially late in the run. It was very close earlier between some of these drivers. Look at these gaps, so minimal. Just give me 1 second, I'll be back in a minute.
Incredibly tightly congested, but that gap between the top 2 and the rest was significant. Half a tenth just over, separating first and second, and then a quarter of a second more than that back to Gavroche in P3. Does that tell us maybe those two are going to have a leg up in the races? It is beautiful skies here over Interlagos. Look at the sun just peering through there. Not a cloud in the sky. Some brilliant, beautiful Brazilian weather. Whether it rains later on, though, as it usually does in Brazil, we still have to wait and see. Remember, championship leader on pole, 22 points is now his advantage over Dirk, who did a decent job, it has to be said, right at the death to finally get a decent lap in to move up into 6th position, mixing it with the Mercedes cars. Polymaki, you'd think, will be a little bit disappointed in 9th. Same with Melwin Efferman in 7th when they were both inside the top 5 for a prolonged period of time.
The sun is blinding my eyes. Ow!
Lovely.
Why are these commentary booths built like this? Why is the sun getting our face? I can't see the racing action without the sun. Oh my gosh. Right, and not really. That's not what we get. We actually just get the same view as you guys would. And that actually makes our jobs a bit challenging. Because obviously, in a real commentary booth, you'd get all this data in this box, all these TVs, etc. And lots of notes, but because we have lives, we have to make do with this.
Don't say that like it's a negative. Stop playing everything down. It should be a cracker, everybody, though.
I have to make comparisons, though.
No.
There are pros and cons. We don't have to travel to the races.
We don't. We don't have to get on those planes, and we don't have to travel. It's a long way to Brazil from the UK. I don't know the exact flight times, but sizable, one would expect, as we wait for the strategies to be decided on. Fuel's going to be important as well. He spent a lot of the lap at full throttle. Opportunity in the middle sector in particular, though, to fuel save. If we do see DRS training, expect to see quite a lot of lift and coasting, and drivers ducking out of the turbulence and the dirty wake to keep the engine temperatures down as well. Will it be a 1-stop? Will it be a 2-stop? They are fairly evenly matched at this stage of the game cycle, so I'd be fascinated to see who goes with what as we wait for the final changes and setups and tyre strategies to be applied.
Yeah, we should be going soon. We've had a message saying you can ready. So hopefully we'll be getting ready anytime soon.
Let's get ready to rock and roll.
Can't say rumble.
I can't say that.
Rumble. It's against Michael Buffer would get us ruined.
He'll be around to my house and pulling my fingernails out, probably, because that has been copyrighted. So we're not going to say that phrase. Ready to rock instead. The anticipation builds. Not the longest of runs down the hill into turn 1, but expect the unexpected and expect a little bit of carnage as well. For round 6, we are racing for the Brazilian Grand Prix. Pole sitter and championship leader on the left, Silo on the right. Good start, though, for White Sheep, already dispossessing Gavroche of 3rd place, in the Ferrari sideways into turn 1. Melwin Efferman going backwards as well. Big cluster and again into the wall. It's Gavroche caught up again. It's Ray Wince off the road and dropping it over the grass through the curve of the Sol. Gavroche, I think, is probably done and dusted started. Lars Kramer caught up in that as well. Championship leader escaping, scampering off into the distance with Silo hot-footing it after him. Still carnage going on in the midfield.
Word.
Ray Wince off the road, having it out with a different Ferrari. This time it's Nicholas in the battle for 10th and 11th. Zane behind. Max Bricker, awful start as well. Must have been caught out with Gavroche from 4th down to 14th for the Haas. Von der Geest to the inside. Chucks it down the inside of 8. Tries to steal 12th away from Zane, but just slams into the side pod of the Aston Martin.
I'm not sure if we're watching Robot Wars or PSGL, but wherever it is chaotic. Lots of fights, lots of collisions everywhere. Gavroche has lost his entire side of a wing. So has Lars Kramer, and they're going to have to roll back to the pit.
Oh, Max von der Geest has locked the rears into Jung Xiao, getting pushed pretty much through the apex by Max Bricker, saying, come on, get on with it. Stop dilly-dallying, and not a very good toe here for the Red Bull either as we go up to start lap 2. Snack still comfortable out in front. Max Bricker tucked up underneath the rear wing, darting to the inside. Is Max von der Geest going to try and hold this? Outside of 1 becomes the inside of turn 2. Max Bricker caught up over the sausage curbs, and that will call that assault for the time being. Gavroche penalty, that'll be a retirement. Lars Kramer gone as well. We're already down to 15 after 1 lap.
And
And this is
Vine
another
trying to
battle.
make a move.
Vine Ben. That was punchy.
Well, thanks for taking my line. But anyway, Vine going on the outside. Going to have the inside next corner, but he has no room to go. Max Bricker, what happened to him? He was 5th. He's fallen already down to 14th. And has all this work to do if he wants to score points. Vine's Ben is chasing him down. 15 drivers to go in the session. It seems to have calmed down, but it won't be calm for long because we've got a long DRS straight to come. Rest in peace DRS in the real Formula 1 world, but it's still here. And Max Bricker's got a problem. He is going much slower than Vine X Ben. I think Vine has got much more pace and is going to make the move into the corner as Silo's closing up to Snatsk. And this is a key battle here. This will probably not be great for the championship if Snatsk can hold on, as Vine has passed Max Bricker. I'm sure Max Bricker's got damage somewhere on the floor.
Doesn't look to be anything cosmetically on the Haas, but clearly struggling for pace, both on the medium compound of tyres. Nicholas slow out of the centre S's. Zane is going to lap that one up on a silver platter. The Aston Martin soldiers on through, and the green machine powers past into 11th. Nicholas now not troubling the apex at all through Desida Lago. Max von der Geest says, thank you very much. I'll help myself with a bit of buffet driving. So from 11th down to 13th now for the one remaining Ferrari. And Vibe Ben and Max Bricker now hot-footing it after that Scarlet car as well. Still fairly standard out front. Snacks from Silo from White Sheep. Dirk and Polymaki though on the hard compound tyres doing a very commendable job. Melwin Efferman in 6th was just caught up a little bit in the first corner skirmishes that went on that eventually took out Gavroche from the race and dropped Max Bricker all the way to the back of the pack.
So Max Bricker, who's at the bottom, is 10 seconds behind the leader as Silo's starting to close up again, and I'm pretty sure he's waiting his turn to try and make a move if Snatsk doesn't make any gains. And Zane and Max van der Geest having a battle, and Max gets ahead, but can he keep Zane at bay when he gets the DRS? Let's see about that. No change at the top. If we check the battle we just mentioned, it doesn't look like Zane is anywhere close, but Vine is ahead of Nicholas and the other Ferrari down there in 14th. And he's gone off the road. He's not going to be doing that, and I think this will bring Nicholas back into the game.
Down temporarily to 14th, although Vibe Ben does hold on to 13th, courtesy probably there of running off the road, and now outside of the second to Zane in front, and we'll have to deal with that Ferrari and of course the Haas of Max Bricker once again. Dirk just trying to cling onto the coattails of the leading trio as well, but 1.0 off the back of White Sheep. That could spell trouble as they come out of Jungxiao and up the hill to complete the lap, but burning a bit of battery I think is just going to keep him inside the 1 second window. 0.4 of a second separating first and second. Will there be second and first by the time they reach the braking zone of the center S's? On this occasion Silo opts to stay behind once more, happy to just play the spectators game as Lawrence from the back of the pack. Really good start in the Alpine, now up to 9th place on the hard compound tyres, dispossessing Ray Wince, who was another driver caught up in the opening lap skirmishes, with Nicholas into the pits now as well.
He's probably going the 2-stop. He's putting the softs on and a wing change, of course. Must have damage from that, so this will have to be a 2-stop. The softs definitely not going to be doing 32 laps. We're not in the real world, and some track like any tracks would have 32 lap softs. I mean, back in the day, obviously, when they had the ultra soft, yeah, definitely. But not this occasion. And I think it's much better they had the soft, medium, and hard, just that, because it was confusing back then. We never saw the super hard tyre. But anyway, the lead seems to have built to half a second, but I'm sure that's going to come down soon. Silo's going to get a lot from the DRS that is open as I speak. But I don't think he's going to be closing up anytime soon. That seemingly has been the story for the past few laps. The DRS train starting to build up.
Very comfortable out in front is the championship leader, and Silo happy to play the spectators game for the time being as well, as we just start to think about the pit stop phases also.
So as I see Snats starting to... I tell you what, that lead is actually not built up much. Silo staying well within the range. Is T-Dub there?
Yes, I'm sorting some... The stream is quite buffery at the moment because my internet's deciding to go at an upload speed of 1 megabyte per second, which is incredibly helpful. It's not ideal.
Are we still on?
Yeah. What we're going to do is we're going to restart. We're going to stop and restart once again. And hopefully that resets things. Although, have they sorted themselves out? No, they haven't. We'll be right back. We should be back, and hopefully that is improved. If people are watching, please do inform if the buffering has reduced, because the bit rate is now significantly lower. But we continue on with the championship leader still holding firm out in front, although that was a bit of a wobble there coming out of turn 9. We're just under pressure, maybe ever so slightly.
Seems to be very calm at the front. I haven't seen him move for a while. Hopefully that will change, because Ray Wentz could be under pressure from Van de Geest. The medium tyre starting to wear out, perhaps? Well, let's see when Van de Geest gets to the first corner off the track. Oh, Ray Wentz is struggling for... Oh, he's come in anyway, so we won't have to pass him. Gets the place just like that. Further up, I think that was Lawrence in.
Ray Wentz
is retired. He's retired. He's had enough. Well, I wasn't expecting that, in all honesty. To be fair, he didn't have the best of starts.
Oh.
I did not expect that. He was in like... What was he? He was in 10th. That is strange. And Nicholas is also...
That'll be
We're
another
down to 13. We've lost 4 drivers in the first 8 laps in the pit lane.
The staying power of some of these drivers worse than the stability of my internet right now. Silo with a wobble there coming out of Bico to
Lawrence
Pato.
has a big wobble.
Yeah, drivers really starting to struggle with grip here. The hard tyres will definitely be in the ascendancy. That's why Dirk is much closer to the back of White Sheep, half the deficit that it has been in the past couple of laps. And we'll maybe be thinking about trying to get a shift on here as those medium tyres continue to degrade and just ail and fall away from the optimal window. Silo again close into the braking zone of turn 1, but happy still to sit behind and preserve the tyres and the fuel. And then it's White Sheep who's now under the cosh here. 9/10 of a second away from Silo. Yellow flag is out. That's for the the Ferrari,
Whoa!
of Nicholas's AI. They're having to dart all over the place. Melwood Effman gets out of the way. Scott Kalevi, Tico, and Lawrence as well. Well done, game, for doing a really solid job there as the Ferrari pulls off the circuit. But that is going to put a few eyes on stalks, as Dirk is now just 0.3 of a second away from White Sheep. What time did Snacks do in qualifying? I believe it was a 1:06.3, I think was the pole time.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to rant, but that was unacceptable. That the game made him go onto the racing line. I'm sorry, that should not be happening. Guys should be retiring in the pit lane, but that does not happen in this game, and I'm sure they'll have to have a look at that one day, because it's becoming a problem. That could have taken someone out of the race, but thankfully that's not the case, as we may have a move potentially. That's Dirk making a move on White Sheep, takes him up to 3rd place, and now he'll be chasing down the 2 leaders, which include the man that he's trying to catch in the championship, 22 points adrift, Snatsk, who is closing up to Silo. Polymaki now is going to be back on, and this is going to be another
Oh my
retirement.
God.
Yes, Vine is out. We're down to 12, and it's only lap 10 as Polymaki makes a move on White Sheep with the superior tyre at the moment. And now you'll be thinking Dirt will be challenging the two race leaders as well. It's really starting to close up. The hard tyres ganging up on the medium tyre runners, and we should be seeing some fireworks in the next few laps unless the medium tyre runners bail. I don't know what is going on with some of these drivers today. It doesn't seem the entire... I've noticed a lot of these people are VNT. More than half the VNT drivers have retired, and they were the first four to retire.
Yes, and if you're watching, everybody, those 5 that have retired within the first 10 laps, your staying power and resilience, it's pathetic. To try and work on that one potentially. You've got the speed, you haven't got the resilience when things go wrong. Anyway, back to the sharp end, still Silo just hot-footing it after Snacks, closing up again, closer than he has been in the last couple of laps, but almost pushing the Williams into the braking zone and showing absolutely no intentions at all at going down the inside, unlike Lawrence, who slides the Alpine past the Sauber of Tika. Those hard tyres really coming to the fruition now, working nicely for the 3 main runners. Max Frick has gone as well. What are you doing? Your resilience is pathetic. Your ambitions are terrible, lads. Come on.
At this rate,
11 left.
You're going to have... At this rate, everyone will finish the race before... Everyone will go out of the race before lap 32.
That is embarrassing. I'm going to say it as it is. That is embarrassing for all of you to be jumping into the bin.
Will that mean we win? Now, guys, only one driver at this rate will not score points. They must finish 90% of the race distance to score points, as per FIA regulations. Therefore, no crashes, please. Otherwise, before lap 32 or 33, you will score no points, even if you finish in the top 10. That is the rule.
Race leader in.
I don't think that is only... I think it's only happened as the leader pits, as well as Lauren, White Sheep, Melvin, and Ascoka Levy. They go humbling down the order. Well, not a big one, it is. I think I've only seen drivers that have finished in the points not scored because I think that was just Indy 500, the Indianapolis tyre.
Oh, yes, from 2005. Hopefully we see nothing like this, although we have had a lot of drivers throw in the towel before we've realistically started. Not even a third of the way through, just approaching that mark now. And we've lost a third of the drivers, so do the maths on that one. But Championship leader bites the bullet first onto a set of the white-walled hard compound tyres. Will he be trying to extend these 25 laps to the end of the race? That feels unlikely. It feels like a bit of a long shot. It is possible if he can baby them in the remaining laps that we've got, with a 2-stop strategy looking like a decent option for somebody that wants to roll the dice here. We'll have to wait and see when Silo responds and what the pace in clean air of these 3 hard tyre runners will be. Polymaki closer to Dirk than Dirk is to Silo. And will Silo jump into the pits a lap after? No, stays out. So Snacks going for that undercut. It's going to be at least a 2-lap undercut on the Red Bull, as Dirk and Polymaki unsurprisingly soldier on. And that leaves Silo as the Lone Ranger out on the medium tyres, as Tika jumps into the pits as well.
Only driver to pit on lap number 12. So, well, was it lap 13, which is the end of the pits, and then they take the pit, then they cross the line, and then they take the pit stop. So you can mind up as you will, as the championship leader has just passed, as well as the other drivers that have also pit. Let's see where he's going to come out. I'd imagine he'd be coming out behind the Skoka Levy, because he'll be full speed out of the Curve de Sol, and that'll be Tico rejoining in 11th. But I don't think he'll be 11th for long, because the drivers in front, the 6 have yet to pit, will be pitting soon.
Things haven't just separated out a little bit. Only driver in that secondary group in DRS range is Melwin Etherman, close to the back of White Sheep. Has gained a little bit of time on the Sauber through the pit stop window when we saw White Sheep really struggling at the end of that first stint on the ailing medium compound tyres. Now does Silo jump into the pit? So are we trying to extend these mediums as long as we possibly can to make the one-stop work, or are we going to get short of them and lay them to rest? And the answer is the latter. 12 laps, 13 laps will be completed on those tyres, 23 on the hards to the end. That will be a significant tyre offset for Silo. And if he can slot in that lovely gap that's opened up between Snacks and White Sheep, I think he'll be very happy with that.
Maybe, so here we go. Where will Silo come out? He's coming out of the pits now. That Snat's just passed him. Where will he come out and where? It's too white sheet though. I think he'll be fine. Here he comes, rounds the exit, and he is ahead, but 2.4 seconds down. So, but he is on the softer, well, I'd say the younger tires. So near the end of the race, we'll see if they make a difference.
And we have to remember last week. Because Polly Mackie was chasing down Snacks right at the death and only had a 1 lap tyre offset and managed to pull 3 seconds back to the championship lead. So do not discount Silo here with a 2 lap tyre offset and maybe a little bit more flexibility if Snacks is going for the 2-stop strategy. I'm expecting this to be a 1-stop race from here, unless somebody fancies a roll of the dice. And as the Red Bull just gets those tyres up to temperature, that brings White Sheep inside the 1 second window of Silo. Will be hoping to try and get dragged along by the Chariot in front up to Snacks and maybe challenge for the race win in the latter stages.
Yeah. As White Sheep sets the fastest lap, 109.617 for reference. That's like 2.5 or 3 seconds slower than the pole time. Because of course, you're not going to be pushing in the race all the time. You've got to think about, is the fuel going to last to the end of the race? The tyres will have to be managed as well, and if you're in the real world, battery. But the batteries not included are here. Polly Mackie still close by Dirk, but Dirk seemingly having superior pace around this track. We know what Dirk can do around this track. Speaking of wonders, you could say. Meanwhile, Silo is further away from Snat than he is from White Sheep behind, and that's not a good sign at all. But we'll see how it impacts the entire field once the hard tyre starter hits, which should be, I'd estimate, lap 25, 26.
Ooh, earlier than that, I would say. I think lap maybe 20, 21, 22 is probably the absolute minimum, the absolute limit of extending a medium stint to the end of the race. You're going to be pushing them very hard. Yes, the cars are lighter, but that is going to be a tall order if you're stopping before lap 20. So these guys should be soldiering on and just digging in the trenches and digging in for the next 5 laps or so. Silo has taken about half a second out of Snacks since he's come out of the pits, and White Sheep doing a good job to just hot-footed after the Red Bull, with Melwin Efferman also in hot pursuit as well. So the championship leader in the net race lead at the moment, but not with absolutely everything going his way, despite that 2-second buffer over Silo behind. The tyre offset should maybe leave things equating to a last lap battle, is what we are of course going to be hoping for. But now White Sheep just maybe feeling the effects of pushing hard to try and stick with the Red Bull. 1.1 seconds off the back of Silo, and that will probably cool his charge, and it'll be a battle for 3rd and 4th on the road between himself and Melwin Efferman as Max von der Geest cruises past Lawrence with the helping Anderson DRS.
Yeah, Lawrence has already made up 13 positions from where he started, but remember, he's not pit yet, so you never know where he'll be finishing here, but I imagine he'll score some points because he has done pretty well to get up in the top 10 already. Of course, there was a lot of calamities earlier, so he'll definitely be finishing 11th at the worst, unless something crazy happens. But we don't want to prophetize anything. Melwin is close up to White Sheep, and this will be for 8th. Silo is starting to build the pace. He is now closer to Snats than White Sheep. White Sheep can't keep up. 1.65 seconds the gap. Snats starting to close in on Zane, who is not pit yet, so imagine he having some teething issues whenever he gets to Zane. Looks like Zane has not got the lag problems he had last week, which is great to see. As they make their way down the stretch, is this going to be the move Snats makes? Nope, because Zane's coming to the pits. Wise choice.
Lawrence as well, still debating.
Oh! Big snap from Van der Geest at the Curva do Sol, saves it, but loses a few temps to Lawrence as a result. As Lawrence has passed him on the stretch, I'd imagine, because he was 4th earlier, but not anymore. As confetti is kicked up. I don't know why that keeps doing that, but never know. This game does speak wonders sometimes. Dirk still in the lead for now. You can tell I've had a long day. Yeah, but we've just about approached the halfway mark of this Brazilian Grand Prix.
And White Sheep is really struggling. Now 5 seconds off the back of Snacks. Melwin's right there. Tico taking chunks of time out of them as well with that 1 lap fresher compound of tyres. Escoca Levy right in that battle as well. This could be a 4-car scrap if Elwin Effman doesn't get his skates on here, because Silo is absolutely shot off into the distance. Now almost within 1 second of Snacks. So we should be seeing a battle between those two. Silo with 2 lap fresher tyres. That could be a significant advantage going into the latter stages. Melwin Effman 6 tenths away from the Sauber, not burning any ERS down the main straight, and will continue to stay at arm's length away from the Sauber at 6 tenths of a second, with Silo prowling up to the back of the championship leader. It's not going to be too long before they're debating the same bits of tarmac again.
Of course, because we still have them to be pit stopping, as I've just been told my battery is low. That's not good. Speaking of battery.
It's almost like it's trying to tell you something.
Oh.
Hidden message?
No. I'm not racing, I'm commentating. As Melvin is still trying to close up on White Sheep, who has been struggling. Van de Geest still behind Lawrence. Polymaki starting to drift off from dirt, which is not good to see.
The Silo's got the DRS. This is crucial now for the rest of the race. 16 laps to go. Silo will be glued to the rear of the championship leader, if not getting past Snacks at some stage. How patient do you want to be? Clearly got a pace advantage here. Do you want to take the risk of just sitting behind and waiting? Does he think he can drop Snacks? He's managed to close him by around 4 tenths of a second per lap since he's come out of the pits as Silo. Is that going to be enough to shake the Williams off his tail and give himself a comfortable race victory, especially as they're about to catch up to the next stage of traffic? It's Lawrence and, importantly, the other Red Bull of Max van der Geest.
That's right. Silo's starting to close in the middle sector. I can imagine there's going to be fireworks when they come out of the stretch. Are we going to have a net race lead change? Let's find out. When we come around the final corner, that is, of course, Junkau. Is that Glock corner? 4 tenths the gap. It's closing down. It's closing down even more. This is going to be the move to take the race lead from Snat. Silo gets ahead and into 5th place for now, but that will be the lead soon enough. He's closing up to his teammate, actually, in the other White Bull, Van de Geest, who's still battling with Lauren.
And not really surprising that Snacks didn't fight that too hard. Got that significant pace disadvantage. Silo will be hoping to try and drop the Williams out of his DRS range. They're going to have to work their way through the traffic that they're going to approach in the middle sector. Max van der Geest and Lawrence still out there, yet to stop on their hard compound tyres. Does this present an opportunity for Snacks to get his way back through, or is it just banking the points for second place, knowing the championship is all but his at this stage of the season? Silo right on the haunches of his teammate now. Do we try an audacious lunge down the inside into Jungshao? I would sense that it would be an unwise decision to make. And yes, we do stay locked underneath the rear wheel. But look at the difference in grip. Max van der Geest wobbles once, twice and thrice coming through turn 12. Silo eases his way back through, but is Van der Geest going to have something back? No, he's going to jump into the pits and get shot of his tyres. Snack's still there with the DRS, but he gets a 10-second penalty. Will that be? Yes, it is. Wow. Oh dear, Max van der Geest. Still no form of resilience. Silo to the outside of the curve of the Soul is going to blast past Lawrence, and Lawrence is going to get out of the way for Snacks as well, not to interfere with the lead battle. So both of them soldier on through. We're down to 10. All of these drivers, if they see the checkered flag, will pick up at least 1 point because of the minimal resilience, let's say, of the drivers that have packed their bags in the first 22 laps of this race. Nice battle shaping up further back as well. It is the net third place on the road. White Sheep, Melwin, Tico and Escoca Levy debating 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th on track. That will of course become 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th once Dirk, Polymaki and Lawrence make their first, and what you imagine will only be their only stop of the race, as Escoca Levy a little bit wide there through turn 9.
So assuming everyone gets past 90% distance, they're all going to score.
Yes.
You get points. You get points. Everyone gets points. But let's not talk about her. That's a different story for another day. Silo and Snatsk now ahead of Lawrence, and now they'll be chasing down Polymaki, who's also yet to pit. I cannot believe. I don't know what happened to Van der Geest anyway. Maybe he just wanted to give his opponent a toe and then be done with it, but that's poor, I'm sorry. I mean, look how far behind Zane is.
And I hate to be that guy, but you know what you said earlier about VNT? If we look at the 7 retirees...
What? Is this a boycott?
6 of them? Is this a boycott? Melwin, please, I beg of you. Make it to the end of the race. Do something for your esports setup. Because the rest of your teammates have decided that they don't fancy doing the 36 laps here of Interlagos. Dirk still leads the way, yet to stop. Polymaki still there as well. 0.8 of a second off the back of the Racing Bull. Then comes your net race leader, Silo, with Snacks trying to cling onto the coattails of the Red Bull car in front. Lauren's yet to stop as well. 2 seconds off the back of the Williams. Should be into the pits fairly short, you would imagine. And here comes Dirk into the box. 23 laps on a set of hard compound tyres, 13 to complete to see into the checkered flag.
Oh my God,
Lawrence has got one as well.
On in the pit lane again. No, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You can still score points. Okay, looks like he's good. He's not giving up yet, but please, guys, please stop beating in the pit lane. To be fair, in my opinion, it's not the real world. They should not be given penalties for speeding in the pit lane. I know it's a hot take, I know it's not replicating the real world, but you got to remember, this is a video game.
I mean,
there can be concessions made.
I disagree entirely with that notion, because otherwise, what's the point of realism? You might as well, not have track limits, because it's a game and it doesn't really matter. You might as well allow people to just play it like Mario Kart if that's the prerogative.
It's the pit lane.
Yeah, but and also it is dangerous still. Okay, it's not going to hurt anybody, but if you've got people doing completely different speeds, I mean...
They always seem to speed in the pit lane.
Well, Polymaki's in, and Polymaki has slowed down enough, probably just paying attention to the blunders of all of the drivers that have just fallen around themselves. So Polymaki does manage to get in without exceeding the speed limit. It'll be an interesting chase for those 3 drivers, less so Lawrence with a 10-second penalty, but Dirk and Polymaki in particular, how much ground can they make up in the remaining 12 laps or so? 7th and 8th as things stand. Dirk will be probably a couple of seconds clear of Polymaki by the time he's spat out of the pit lane, going through the Curve de Sol and onto the Retta Aposta. We wait to see what the delta is as he comes out of the pit lane. There you can just see in the foreground is the Racing Bulls, and that gap is going to be 2.5 seconds. So big undercut there for Dirk, using those medium compound tyres, brand new medium compound tyres to his advantage. They should very quickly catch up to White Sheep, Melwin, Tico and Escoca Levy. You'd expect they'll work their way through as well, and then it'll be an exclusive battle between themselves for that final spot on the podium.
Yeah, the gap between the leader and Dirk is 14.4 seconds as it stands. Top 10 still in the only drivers in the race is the top 10. As you can see, I am going through the race director. I'm just waiting for the times to start being set. Looks like a 35.4 first sector for Dirk. I don't know. No, sorry, that was a 17.7. I do apologise. 35.4 good second sector. And is set a 109.5, and that is his best lap of the race, naturally, being the medium tyres. But Lawrence has set an even faster lap. Got a 109.109. Nice alliteracy there in the digits. But yes, Dirk starting to gain. He's already a second ahead of Escoca Levy a lap. So you'd expect in 4 or 5 laps, he'll get up towards Escoca Levy and will take his 6th position like candy from a baby.
Absolutely motoring on those brand new medium compound tyres. You can see 13.3 off the lead. That is, you'd expect, too much to try and catch up to the back of Silo and Snacks, but third place definitely a possibility here for Dirk and for Polly Mackey. Just under 2 seconds separating the Red Bull, or the Racing Bulls I should say, and the Mercedes, as I pick every single tyre. I change every single spectator graphic apart from the one that I wanted to. That is ideal. Less than 4 seconds now the gap between Escoca Levy and Dirk. Polly Mackey a little bit quicker than Dirk as well on this lap, as you would expect, with 1 lap fresher medium compound tyres. Doesn't beat Dirk's fastest lap though from the previous tour.
It doesn't, and that's not a good sign, as the gap now between the top 2 is just under half a second. Same goes for White Sheep and Melvin for a brief moment, and Melvin and Tico. Melvin stuck in a Kick Cyber / Audi / I cannot say that sponsor sandwich.
Yes, all we can say is there will be a lot at stake in that battle for the final spot on
for
the podium.
goodness sake.
Gamer PS jumping in. Hello, hope you're doing well. You've come at the right time. We should get a battle for the lead in the closing stages. Silo started from second, 2 lap fresher tyres, currently holding off the championship leader Snacks, just keeping the Williams at arm's length for the time being. They've got a serious chase on for the final spot on the podium. A lot of DNFs. You are correct in that observation, my friend. 7 retirees, 6 of them from the same esports setup. A lot of them, well, I think we lost 6 of those 7 inside the first 10 laps. They all just handed in their notice, didn't fancy it. A little bit of unluck, or bad luck I should say, or drama going on. Nah, that's it. 10-second penalty speeding in the pits. Nah, gotta sack it off there. The resilience and the staying power of a feather being blown on a light breeze on an autumn's day.
If you don't score, I mean, you've still got the experience. I mean, a lot of drivers in Formula 1, especially between 2010 and 2012, they competed in Formula 1 in the lower, lesser teams, and they never scored. But some of them still got a lot of money because, of course, the position, the higher position, mattered. Remember, it went down, was it the last race this season for Caterham? And they managed to get 10th place by finishing ahead on the final race in Brazil.
Yeah, 2012 was that?
Yeah, and that was last year for HRT. And rest in peace, HRT. It's been 14 years. Maybe they might come back, but they're a different owner, honestly, because I think Campos is no longer with us. Adrian Campos, rest in peace. Good days. Good days. There's not many little teams anymore. The last one, I think, was Manor in 2016, which went bust because of Felipe Masser in the Cyber at them. His home race was Nazar, not Massa. Nazar. Then he got sacked because he didn't have the money compared
Oh,
to
Dirk's nearly dropped it. Code Brown there coming out of Desida de Lago. Massive tail snap. Almost got a big swapper on. Tyre temperature going to be spiking a little bit there, almost within the 1 second window of the group in front. But Polly Mackey taking chunks of time out of Dirk as Dirk takes chunks of time out of Escoca Levy. And look out in front. Silo turning on the afterburners, stretching their legs out in front. Snacks outside the 1 second window with 7 laps to go. That could be curtains for the championship leaders' assault on the race victory.
Apparently Gavworks has said he's no longer a VNT, so we've got to change his tag.
Oh, okay,
It costs money to change your PS gamer tag. I don't like that you have to be charged to change your name.
Interesting goings on there. Dirk deep again into the centre S's, pushing, maybe just overdriving a little bit here, Dirk, sensing the opportunity for a podium, but feeling the pressure under the cosh with Polly Mackey now within 1 second behind. Lawrence with a 3-second penalty for corner cutting, but might still finish ahead of Zane. The gap is, he needs to find another couple of seconds. Well, a little bit more actually, because he's got a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, so he needs to find 6 seconds over Zane, who's on old hard compound tyres compared to the relatively still new mediums of Lawrence. This is the battle though. The lead fight looks to be one and done. Sal sealed and delivered for Silo. White Sheep, can they hold on to the final spot on the podium? Melvin Effman, Tico, Escoca Levy, and then Dirk and Polly Mackey on the brand new tyres.
Dirk's first opponent will be a Skokolevi in the McLaren, the Lowland McLaren tonight. And then it will be Tico. But let's see what happens when he gets out of the corner. He has a bit of a wobble out of Junior Tower, but he's going to be charging down to the DRS stretch. Gets the DRS flat open, so does Skokolevi, but with the superior pace, it's going to be Dirk that's going to get past and into 6th place. First overtake we've seen for in poor position in a while. Makes it look like child's play. His next opponent, Tico, in 5th, the kick Sauber.
And Polymaki is being incredibly efficient at getting through the traffic as well, to try and stick like glue to the back of the RB. You called it right there. Melvin got very close to the back of White Sheep, who's wide through the Cedar de Largo. Tico just needs to get his skates on as well. 7/10 of a second off the back of the Mercedes, who's almost pushing White Sheep up the hill into Ferradura, but there's not really an overtaking opportunity in the middle sector unless you throw it aggressively down the inside of this corner, turn 8, or Bica de Pato. You can see Dirk in the background, deep again, this time into turn number 8, pushing very hard. Does he go for the send into Bica de Pato? He's brave on the brakes, locks the rears, locks the front right as well, taps the back of the Sauber of Tico, really hustling this Racing Bulls car. Polymaki behind. It's the outside down the hill through Magulio. Has got Kalevi out of the way. Superbly done there by the Mercedes. And I think Dirk is going to make child's play of Tico up the hill to start lap 32.
It's going to make it look easy here. What's Tico got up his sleeve? He's trying to hold him off, but Dirk's going to get alongside and he should get ahead here. Oh, he's still side by side with him. I've got to hand it to him, and he's got slid around. And I think Tico was not wanting to give that position that easily, and as a result, he's got Polymaki past him as well. And that's going to let him through as Melvin has passed White Sheep for the podium position. But did he go off the road there? Maybe he just kept a wheel on, but he is through. Melvin now into 3rd. But now, Dirk is going to be closing in on both. Dirk and Tico, though, man. A close moment in the first corner of lap 32. But they are both still on the track. But I think Dirk may have wanted to get past without incident.
Dirk incredibly lucky. So, clear as day for me there. The Sauber of Tico was still partially alongside into turn 2. Dirk turning across like he wasn't there. Lucky not to get spun around there and can continue his assault on trying to get up into the podium places. White Sheep, snap of oversteer coming out of Jung Xiao, but Dirk, his mirrors full with the flash of silver because Polymaki right on the tail of the Racing Bull, but as Dirk dumps the battery to try and defend, White Sheep closes up to the back of Melvin Efferman. The Sauber stays tucked underneath the rear wing of the Silver Arrow. 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th flashing through the centre S's. Dirk wide again through turn 1 and turn 2. Little bit of a snap as well through the curve of the Sol. Brings Polymaki right back onto the haunches of the Racing Bull. Oh, he's still in the same order. White Sheep just jinks over to the left-hand side, making his intentions clear. Doesn't slide it to the inside. We're following very, very closely here. Polymaki searching for an opportunity. It won't be the outside of Ferradura. And Dirk still has 5th place in his grasp, but the time he doesn't send it to the inside of 8.
Doesn't. This is what Formula 1 racing should be all about. Close battles, no concessions allowed, no holds barred racing. You've got it here at PSGL, the top division of PlayStation racing, and it's involving these 4 lucky gladiators fighting for position. Dirk and Polymaki closing down on the hard tyre runners who have basically sitting ducks right here. Is White Sheep going to try and hold off Dirk, or is Dirk just going to make mincemeat of him into the first corner? Is he going to send it? He is! He didn't have much fun with the Sauber last time, but he backs off and knows his place this time. Although, to be fair, the previous wasn't his fault. But here we go. This is going to be the second attempt, and it should be clean as you like, but White Sheep ain't going to give it that easily, but he's through. Dirk into 4th. Now he's got to get past Melvin for the 3rd place, and it'll be, oh no.
Oh, Polymaki to the inside of Ferradura. There's just the space. Bit of contact made. Half slide there for Polymaki. Little bit too ambitious, you would say. Up the hill into turn 7. White Sheep is now wide through turn 8. Maybe that's to give Polymaki the space back. A little bit of contact again at the exit of turn 9. Polymaki's through. Was really aggressive down the inside. Was it the turn in from the White Sheep that just caused the contact? Or was it Polymaki just sending it too hard up the inside? We didn't have the best of camera angles, unfortunately. Only 10 runners. It is a shame, isn't it, that we only have 10 runners in the top tier of the PlayStation side. I agree with that run as well. I love Brazil. Best circuit on the calendar.
But
Back in season 16. You're an absolute OG, aren't you, my friend?
But good news is, even if they don't finish now, they are guaranteed points because they have reached 90%. And I think Zane is going to... What's he going to do here? Is he going to go for the... Oh yeah, I think he would go for the fastest lap, right? So you're not going to get any points now because they've changed that rule. But he knows he's not got anywhere to go. He's going to be in 10th anyway. He's going to score some points. Win-win, right? Medium tyres.
Doesn't have any soft tyres left. That could be the answer.
Maybe he just wanted a casual Sunday drive. Or Monday drive, I should say. Monday night drive. Yes, he'll be finishing in 10th. He'll get 1 point to his total. Well done. Dirk, though, is closing up for a podium spot and 10 championship points. As Nats may have to concede that he was overtaken tonight by Silo. A very important win this would be for Silo after an incident last week probably cost him the win. Final lap has begun. Here comes Dirk. He's going to try and take the third position away from Melvin with the Supreme medium tyres. Closing up. Is he going to make the lunge here for the position? I don't think he is. No, I think he's going to wait for the curve. City Lago, he's touched him though.
Whoa.
Oh.
Again, Dirk is all over the show. Really wild. Lawrence gets up into 8th place. He's just caught the back of this snake. Back to Dirk, though. Is it the inside of City Lago? Almost pushing the Mercedes and Melwin into the apex. This is for the final spot on the podium. Efferman slightly wobbly coming out of turn 5. Dirk jinking all over the place on the grass on the run hill into Ferragira. Tries it to the inside, gets up over the curve, but has to back out of that one. Wow, that was aggressive. That was punchy, wasn't it? Polymaki arriving on the scene too. This should be a drag race up to the line. Can the two Mercedes cars work together to double team Dirk out of this 4th position? Further forward, Silo in a land of his own, comfortably clear of everybody else. He's going to take a commanding victory. Polymaki almost drops it. Going down the hill through Magulio. Back up to the front. A Silo masterclass on the strategy takes it. He's 7.5 clear of the championship leader, who has to settle for 2nd place. And I think Mel Efferman, one more lap he would have lost it, but he is going to keep Dirk in his back pocket. Polymaki in P5. White Sheep falling by the wayside. Lawrence gets past Tika, but it won't count because of the penalties. Escoca Levy now ahead of Lawrence as well. Zane all the way at the back. And will come home in 10th place. Probably not with the fastest lap, you would say, although purple to the middle sector split. But Silo, a 2nd win in his last 3 races, putting some manners perhaps on the championship leader Snacks. Melwin Efferman just holding off the advances of Dirk in the latter stages as well.
So there you go, Silo with another win in this championship, and that will take him to 42 points. And that will put him just 4 points short of Dirk, who finished 4th today provisionally. Snacks now increases his tally to 72, and that will give him a 26-point lead in this championship. So he has extended the championship lead. Van de Geest, of course, in 3rd, and the champ will not be anymore because of Silo and Polymaki getting their results today. Means he'll drop down, I think, to 5th in this championship. It is the top 3 drivers are all SCI stable drivers. Oh boy.
The reigning champion was SCI as well, Volokongan, and the champion before in Oscar. Fastest lap did go to Zane. Driver of the day and most overtakes for Lawrence. Cleanest driver for Scott Levy. But it is Silo from 2nd to 1st. Champion leader having to settle for 2nd on this occasion. Melwin Efferman just seeing out on the podium ahead of Dirk. Polymaki. Then come the 2 Saubers. Good drive from Tika from 11th to 7th. Escoca Levy. And then Lawrence, who had a quali ban, and Zane. Mats von der Geest, Max Bricker, Vibe Ben, Nicholas Raymond, Lars Kramer, and Gavroche all failing to see the checkered flag. And once again, another big swing in the championship picture. Good recovery from Dirk after some dramas and some maladies in qualifying. But once again, he may not have won the race, but Snacks doing the job that he has to, racking up those points and extending that championship lead once more.
Yeah, and that's going to do it for another night of action. It felt like it flew by tonight. And
Brazil, that's why it's the picture there. Interlagos, best circuit on the calendar. Won't have anybody argue against it.
Yeah, as I was saying, yes, Surprised there was only 10 finishers tonight, and 6 of them dropped out in the first third. Don't know what the issues were, but regardless, they're going to score no points as a result. So everyone that finished tonight scores.
You do. Extra point for Zane as well, with the fastest lap right at the death. But that is round 6 in the back catalogue. Just 4 to go in season 42. Probably, I think, almost guaranteed to be the last on F1 25. We know that 26, the DLC, will be coming fairly shortly. If we look at where we are headed around the globe in the next couple of weeks, that is not the calendar graphic. That's the calendar graphic. Next week we head to Singapore, from South America to East Asia. Singapore, interesting one. That's a real endurance race, isn't it? Then to Spa-Francorchamps before our Middle Eastern doubleheader to round off season 42. Abu Dhabi and Saudi Arabia. Potentially the last race we do, the F1 25 cars. I look forward to that one. And I think we'll probably be crowning our champion before we get to Saudi.
Possibly, the way it's going, but you never know. Things can change from an instant, so we'll see what happens. Yes, I've turned blue. I'm putting Sky on.
Well, thank you everybody for turning out for this one. The drivers may have decided to not necessarily put their best foot forward, but hopefully the racing that you did see was exciting. Before we go, first of all, shout out to Sim Racing Setups as well. If you need to try and extract those extra tenths, maybe even seconds of performance, depending on how slow you are on F1 25, check out their Pro F1 25 car setups, created and developed by the drivers you see week in, week out here at PSGL. Esports and stable setups for every single circuit on the game. That is 27 in total. All available for £49.99 at the link in the description of simracingsetup.com. And you can use the code PSGL at checkout for a 5% discount. But Logan, once again, thank you for jumping in alongside me. Pleasure as always. On an internet, where can people find you if they want to see what you're up to?
You can visit me at Otaku Logan on YouTube. I've been streaming The Simpsons Hit and Run lately. 100% completion as well, as you like to say. 100%?
100%. That's my go-to. 100%, 100%, 100%.
Great game show.
Make sure you check that out, and if you're interested in what I'm doing, wilco.coms on Instagram and TikTok. But thank you everybody for watching. We'll be back in 7 days time for the Singapore Grand Prix, the ultimate endurance test on the F1 calendar. Searing heats, non-stop cornering action, and maybe Snacks taking another step towards what will be a very dominant championship victory. Thank you for joining us in Brazil. Enjoy PC, that'll come in a few days time on Thursday. Until next week, from myself and Logan, it is goodbye and have a wonderful rest of your week.